I welcome everyone to SRIRAM's IS. I hope, guys, my voice is audible to everyone. Can you hear me, guys? Loud and clear? Okay. So, yeah, we are live. So, guys, I welcome everyone to SRIRAM's IS. I am very happy to announce that we are launching some new upcoming batches for UPSC CSC 24. So if you are interested in joining our offline programs, every detail related to our course is given in the description box of this video. So at SRIRAM IS, we are serving from past 35 years in the field of UPSC, and we have given more than 3,500 civil servants to this country. This program is run and managed by our director, none other than SRIRAM sir himself, who has a 35-year plus experience in mentoring UPSC aspirants. So in this video, guys, I will be talking about the nuances of urban floods. Urban floods is a recurring phenomena. So with this video, you will learn each and every aspect about urban floods, that why this urban floods in recent time, especially in northern part of India, has created a havoc. So we will see in this video that what are the various causes of urban floods. We will see that what modern mitigation tactics that we can adopt in order to tackle urban floods as a scenario. So this video will be a highly informative video about urban floods. So let's start. You can link this topic with GS3, environmental pollution, degradation, subtopic of mains GS3. Okay. So urban floods is a quite a recurring feature in which we are witnessing almost in every part of our city. Okay, so let us start. What are urban floods? So before starting, a little information about urban floods. You should know that what is urban floods and how this urban flood is different from your regular floods as a phenomenon. Okay, so is there any difference between floods and urban floods? And will it there be a difference in the mitigation strategy for both the kind of floods? So the answer to this question is yes, there will be a difference. So Anvesha, a very good evening, welcome. Harsha, welcome to this session. So guys, let us first understand that what are urban floods. So guys, we know that all the urban centers of our country, they are under a continuous tremendous pressure to expand. There is a pressure on these centers due to the population, to support that population, and all our cities are expanding. Now this haphazard expansion of urbanization is the main reason that more and more area are coming under floods. So let's say, for example, what is urban flooding? Basically, the inundation of land and property. That means the urban area getting submerged under the water due to, let's say, poor drainage and overwhelming rainfall is known as urban flooding. All right. So why these intensities are increasing? Because India is right now reaching all those tipping points where we are transitioning all our tier 2 cities, tier 1 cities into modern urban centers. Okay, and it is expected that by 2030, around 40.76% of the country's population is expected to reside in urban areas. So that means we need more urban areas to come up each year. That means we need to expand. But on contrary, you will find that these expansion of urban centers are not happening in a planned way. So this unplanned development and rising incidence of climate change as a phenomena, the rising incidence of climate change as a phenomena results into the problem of urban flooding. Like what do you mean by climate change? Like guys, the spatial and temporal patterns of rainfall are changing. The spatial and temporal pattern, that means the monsoonal rains are getting erratic. So there are areas which have high rainfall in a very short period of time, and then we are getting our rainfall like Indian monsoon are confined to 3 to 4 months only. Okay, so Indian monsoon are confined to 3 to 4 months. Now in these 3 to 4 months, that's let's say from June to let's say somewhere around September, India receives around 80% of its rainfall, and rest of the year there is a kind of a erratic rainfall or very below average rainfall. So getting that most of the rainfall in a very short period of time is the main reason that we witness floods. And then why it is happening in urban area? Because intensity of rainfall in urban areas are also increasing. There are various causes to it. We will discuss these causes in detail, but one of the main cause why these flood peaks are increasing is because of a concept known as the urban heat island effect. So I will elaborate this urban heat island effect in just a while, but when we need to introduce our answer, we can quote some examples of severe urban flooding from India in the past. So we can quote some recent examples in like 4 or 5 years back, and you can quote them with examples that why urban flooding is rising. So you can start with quoting 2023 urban floods, where you have seen Delhi was under water, major cities of Haryana was underwater, which includes NCR region, Gurugram, which includes the regions adjacent to Punjab like Panipat, Ambala, all submerged underwater. And then this this year, urban flood has been reported even in states like Punjab, and in those areas of Punjab which earlier were a little drier, like Punjab and Haryana, they do not get that much rainfall from the monsoon. But this year, because of climate change and global warming, yes, very good, Anvisha. So, because of climate change and global warming, intensity of rainfall in Punjab, Haryana, and Delhi was way too high. And even today, like the forecast says that it will rain very soon in the upcoming month, it will rain quite heavily. So you can quote all these examples. Then Chennai and Bangalore, these two cities are facing urban floods almost every year, particularly these two cities. Reason? The reason is haphazard urbanization or rapid urbanization in the both the cities. So you can quote example of 2015 Chennai flood. Even last year Chennai flood, Chennai was under flooding, Bangalore was under flooding, many parts of Kerala was under flooding. So you can quote all these examples. Then overall, guys, the flood peaks in India are increasing almost threefold times. Like it has increased from 1.8 times to 8 times. And in terms of volumes, flood peaks means frequency. So frequency of floods are continuously increasing. So the data says that it has increased from 1.8 times to 8 times. So imagine how much is the frequency, how much increase in the frequency that has been recorded. Then increase in the flood volumes by 6 times. That means the amount of water which was earlier any city can was handling, it has also increased over the time. So let's say earlier a city used to get 1,000 liters of water, for example. Now it is getting around 6,000 liters of water. Now the cities are handling this much amount of water. So this is the reason why flooding, urban flooding is, almost a frequent phenomena. We are getting floods very easily everywhere. Yes, Anvisha, we can even quote the example of 2005 Mumbai floods. Okay, so let us now quickly understand that what are the different causes for urban flooding in India. Let us see one by one what are the causes. We'll see some natural and some man-made causes. Both we'll analyze. So the first important cause is encroachment of drainage. So we all know that in the urban areas, because the cities have a poor infrastructure, so people generally occupy the low-lying areas of the of any city. Like for example, if I quote examples from Bangalore or Bengaluru, or if I quote examples from Chennai, why water was entering in the residential complexes. Actually, it is other way around. Water is not entering the residential complexes. It is the residential complexes which are built in the natural drainage of the city. So imagine that there was a depression in the city. Like every city has a low-lying area. So these low-lying areas from ancient time, it has a gradient, it has a depression. So whatever water will fall in the city will run towards that gradient. Let's say there was an old lake, but lake is dried up because of climate change. The lake was vanished. And over the period of time, you will build your houses in this dried up section of the dried up section or dried up part of the city. Now, what will happen? Whenever there will be excessive rain, the water will gush down towards these societies which are built on these depressions. Are you getting my point? So this is known as encroachment of your natural drainage channels. It is encroachment of natural drainage channels. This is why, and the condition here, the condition of urban floods here are very pathetic. Like the water is entering and touching almost the first floor of the building. Imagine. And we have seen that people were forced to move out from all those people who are living in the basement, even the people who are living in the first floor, they are moving out. This type of visuals we have seen in 2023 Punjab floods, the Zirakpur district of Punjab. So increased land prices, less availability of land, all these factors force people to, and it also force the builders, the nexus of builders and politicians, all these societies come up without any analysis of the vulnerability of the area, without studying the topography of the area. They simply start doing the construction in these areas, and the result is you will get water in these areas. So ideally, the natural drains have been widened similar to the road widening for the increased traffic. Now, one more reason is like most of the cities have a century old drainage system. Like if I talk about Delhi in old Delhi areas, they are still surviving on century old drainage system. But the population pressure in that region has increased. There is more population, there is more tourists, more number of people coming there. So what will happen that the drainage is same, but the load on the drainage, the load of the waste has increased. So the drains will be clogged, more water coming into those drains or running towards that drain, it cannot withstand. Water will again collect and then it will run out from the drains. This is why you will feel that a 15 minutes of rain in any major city, you will get hours and hours of traffic jams due to water logging as a problem. All right, due to water logging as a problem. Then I have explained both the factors here, encroachment of natural drainage and then encroachment of your regular drainage or old dependence on old drainage system without deepening it or without upgrading all these drainage system. It results in urban floods. Next cause is climate change. So due to climate change and global warming, urban cities are experiencing tremendous amount of rains. Okay, there are various factors. First is the urban heat island effect. Urban heat island effect or urban heat dome. Urban heat dome. So what do you mean by these concepts? So basically you will do all these concepts in environment and ecology. So like in urban areas, guys, don't we see concretization everywhere? In urban areas, you will find everywhere is getting concretized, less of green spaces. This is one factor. So what will concrete do? Concrete will absorb more and more heat and then it will reflect that more and more heat. So overall, the temperatures of urban area will become higher in comparison to the rural area because of more use of concrete. This is one reason. Then too much of pollution in urban areas due to vehicular pollution, industrial pollution, or different types of air pollution, which releases suspended particle in the air, more greenhouse gases in the air. So what will happen? Again, the average temperature of the urban areas will be higher than your regular open areas or rural areas. Now, with consequence of all these factors like concretization, like increasing greenhouse gases, the ultimate result, okay, what will be the ultimate result? There will be a intensive low pressure that will start building up in urban areas. Intensive low pressure. And this intensive low pressure, what you have done in your geography, which is known as convective rainfall. So urban areas will receive very high, very intense urban rainfall in order to balance this heat dome or to balance this urban heat island effect. Okay, water pollution, in a way, yes, Anvesha, it can also be a cause. Like water pollution will clog the drains, it will clog the flow of the rivers. So in that sense, I am coming to water pollution as a issue. Okay, so I hope you got it, that how urban heat island effect, urban heat dome is a major reason that urban cities, they will get rains, very short span of rain, but that short span is intense. And then guys, adding on to this urban heat island dome, there are times now we are witnessing this. Like, what is the result? The urban areas are getting prolonged rain as well. Like Delhi, there each year from last 3 years, I am witnessing this, that there are some times where Delhi is getting rains continuously for 2 3 days, continuous. Like this type of effect, I have never seen, especially for city like Delhi. It was common in cities like Kerala. It was common, in cities of let's say northeastern places. Continuous rains for 2 days, but urban areas like Mumbai is witnessing continuous rain for 2 days, 3 days is very common in Mumbai because of the location. Okay, but it is not common in cities like Delhi. So all these cities are also experiencing frequency of the rain, short duration rains, and as well as long duration rains, and days of long duration rains are also increasing. So this is what climate change. इसी को हम बोलेंगे that yes, climate is changing, average climate is changing. So guys, this video will give you all other causes and mitigation. I will come to the mitigation as well. But before that, can I get a like on this video for all the people who are watching this session? Can you hit a like to this video, and please subscribe to our channel of SRIRAM. This is our official channel. All necessary details related to the courses are mentioned in the description box. So you can read the description box. Then if you are planning to join courses for UPSC CSC 24, every detail is mentioned there. Then guys, continuing the causes after understanding climate change, let us move on to the next cause, unplanned tourism activities. So the burden of tourism is also, pushing the limits of all these cities. Like for example, the burden of tourism in the hill station is forcing deforestation. The burden of tourism is increasing the levels of pollution, water pollution, it is increasing the plastic pollution, it is increasing even air pollution. Do you know that even more and more travel is also the result of, or it is one of the factor of global warming? Because the air transport, guys, the air transport is basically one of the reasons and one of the highest emitters of the greenhouse gases and other type of pollutants in the air. So this is why unplanned tourism and all these activities are also responsible for urban flooding as a concept. Then water plants that reduce the runoff speed are being removed from the rivers and lakes for maintaining tourism activities. So to maintain a sustainable tourism, we are changing the landscape of urban areas, and even we are changing the landscape of the other areas as well. Like, so you are in a way, mentoring with, or you are basically changing with the regular flow of the river. Are you getting this? You are changing the regular flow of the river, and whenever you will hinder the flow, the water will come out. And when water will come out, you will perceive as a flooding situation. So throwing all those non-biodegradable matter into the rivers, lakes during religious activities, cultural activities is also creating, it is one of the cause for water pollution. Like Animesha, you were talking about this, that how water pollution can be a cause of floods, because it will change the course of the rivers. It will change the resistance in the river. It will hinder the velocity of the river. And this is why it will result in urban flooding. Then the other type of reasons, or what other reasons can trigger urban flooding? Uninformed release of water from dams. Like, this is the reason which you can say that it is a kind of a political reason, or you can say that we have a lack of coordination, interstate coordination. There is a lack of interstate coordination among the states. So like for example, this we have experienced during the 2023 floods in Delhi just a month back. So there is a barrage, Hathni Kund barrage, which controls and regulates the water of river Yamuna. So the Aam Aadmi Party, like both the Union Territory and that state of Haryana, is governed by different political parties. So Aam Aadmi Party was blaming Haryana for not informing about the floodgates or opening the floodgates, and then Haryana was blaming the Aam Aadmi Party that we have done as per the protocol. So this is also a reason that when you open up the floodgates suddenly, because now like this has happened in Sukna Lake of Chandigarh. So the floodgates of Sukna Lake can only tackle a limited amount of water. Whenever the water will cross that danger mark, there is no choice but to open the gates, because if this would not happen, the hydrostatic pressure, the pressure of the water, there is a chance to that it can damage the dam or a barrage. And when the dam is broken up, the water will gush down toward it spread across all the nearby area, and which is beyond the control. So 2023 Delhi floods, you can add example. Chennai floods of 2015, you can add example. Next is illegal mining activities. So guys, like sand mining, it is very common, and you know the political nexus around sand mining, the bureaucratic nexus, support of police, like how mining can result into flooding. Like basically you are eroding the natural flood banks of the river. So when you are eroding the natural flood banks, due to soil erosion, the water intensity in the river will fall. And when water intensity in the river will fall, the flow of water, you are basically, when you are clearing out the sediments, you are changing the intensity of the flow of water. So this ultimately change in the nature will impact you. Okay, so whenever man interferes with the nature, guys, current affair happens. Okay, and when nature retaliates, current affair will happen and people will come in news. Okay, yes, Anvisha, it is very common. The release of water from the dams in Arunachal Pradesh. Every year, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh will get floods. But Anvisha, right now we are focusing on urban floods. Do remember this, that we are not discussing your regular floods. We are discussing urban floods. Then guys, what are the other causes of urban floods? Then rapid and unplanned urbanization. I have already elaborated this, like how Bangalore is creating problem. The flood is right now, every year Bangalore, city of Chennai are facing floods. In some places, the runoff water was flowing into the constructed deviation canals. That means this is what I have explained in the start of this, this video. And then CAG, our Comptroller and Auditor General, has found that this more construction of residential complexes, commercial complexes in the natural runoff water will increase the chances of flash floods. So what are flash floods? The sudden floods in a very limited area due to cloudburst, or let's say breaking up of a dam or breaking of a canal, can result into these type of flooding. One more reason is destruction of mangroves. So mangroves are the type of vegetation which are grown in the nearby areas. Okay, it is a type of a vegetation which grows in a transition area of aquatic and uh, terrestrial ecosystem. So Mumbai is also losing its green cover. There is almost 40% reduction of mangroves that has been recorded from 1995 to 2005. As a result, in 2005, you have seen a devastating flood in Mumbai. So this is another reason that why mangroves are causing destruction. Then next is poor civic management of storm water drainage. Like this is very common in urban areas, like all those flyovers and bridges. Just a 10-minute of rainfall, guys. Just a 10-minute of rainfall in urban areas, and there is hefty traffic jam. Why? Because there is no drain outlet and inlet connectivity which connects the storm water. That means the drainage which are built across the flyovers to connect that extra water falling on that flyover or a bridge. So the water starts, it starts getting accumulate. The accumulation starts where you enter the flyover, where you are you're taking a leap on the flyover, and the other part as well, where the flyover is ending. And this is also very common that in every flyover, now this is very common in every city, from irrespective that you have joined from where. So the cities, all the flyovers are, the water is falling like a waterfall in between. Some it is finding out some gaps in between, and the water is continuously falling. So don't you think that the water which was falling just like that should be properly connected with some inlet drains? Yes or no? Then guys, lack of data. So all the urban planning is happening without any vulnerability mapping. Okay, all the construction is happening without the vulnerability mapping. We are not able to locate the areas. We are not able to, understand the topography of the urban centers. The topography of the urban centers. We don't know that which area has what kind of elevation. And we do this construction without, haphazard construction is happening in urban cities. So new areas are submerging almost every year. The next reason is lack of coordination. So according to a CAG report, like there is a lack of coordination between the municipalities, the local, the local authorities. So because of this lack of coordination between different tiers of the government, lack of coordination between different ministries and departments is one more reason that there is a problem of flooding. Okay, like you will see in Delhi, let me quote you an example of Delhi. So we have PWD, Public Work Department, then we have MCD, that is the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, and then we have NDMC, the New Delhi Municipal Corporation. All these departments, they do not have a synchronized coordination among themselves. And like you have seen, the Aam Aadmi Party will blame the center for this, then the center will blame the Aam Aadmi Party for this, and this game will go on. So lack of coordination among different departments, different agencies is one more reason that we have there is a cause of urban flooding. So what will be the impact of urban floods, guys? Each year there is, like, all these floods, just one day of flood causes more than 1,000 crore rupees of revenue loss to a city like Bangalore last year. The IT capital has shut down. So just one day stall in the activities, one day off in the offices, it led to 1,000 crore rupees loss. Then urban floods will damage the infrastructure. Your infrastructure will be damaged, government infrastructure, your infrastructure of your personal infrastructure, your houses will be impacted. Like you have seen in Punjab this year, there are many houses that have fallen because of the flood water weakening the foundation. All right, then obviously all these accidents will result in loss of life and property. Then not only life and property of humans, but every year, how big, how such a big level of impact is witnessed on the livestock. Okay, so how many animals are affected by these flood-like situation? So, and with this, adding on to this, you will face that spread of diseases. Water is everywhere, but you cannot drink that water. So it will create problems of basic amenities. Waterborne diseases, other communicable diseases will start spreading in that region. Okay, so these are the impacts. Then what are the other impacts? Ecological impact. Urban floods will wash away your trees, plants. It will do more erosion because of the high speed of water, and thereby it can further increase the chance of flooding in the next season because the banks are getting eroded. So this will be the ecological impact of urban flooding. Then impact on animal and human health. So this I have already told you, like the stagnation of water, like it takes for one season of flood, it almost takes 2 to 3 weeks. One day of flooding can take 2 to 3 weeks for the water to recede back. And this retention of water, you can see the later on impact. Like for example, right now, don't you see dengue spreading in Delhi? The cases of dengue is on the rise. Why do you think the cases of dengue is on the rise in Delhi? It is the after effect of the flooding which has happened just 2 weeks back. It is a kind of a after effect. So these are the impacts. Then economic impact I have already elaborated, like damage to critical infrastructures. What if flood water enters into your major industrial setups? Like let's say it enters power plants, it enters water plants, like this has happened in Delhi. The flood water has entered the water plants, thereby the government was forced to shut down that water plant. And as a result, what will happen when a water plant will shut down? The city will face water crisis. So this will be the impact of flooding in India. Then another impact will be it will break down the communication lines. So it will disrupt the normal working of the city by damaging water supply, sewerage, power transmission, communication, transportation. All these sectors will be impacted due to urban floods. And yes, last but not least, psychological impact, like the PTSD, post trauma stress disorders. Like for example, can you measure the loss of floods or loss due to floods for a person for which his building has collapsed? So if a person has witnessed this much of loss, or imagine a type of a farmer in urban area who was dependent on the basic minimal level of farming that he was doing. Like we have many farms even in the outskirts of Delhi. So all these destruction will have a long-term psychological impact on the people. And nobody talk about all these type of impacts. Okay, so you can add all the type of impacts due to urban flooding with these respective points. Okay, health impacts I have already mentioned. One last is the social impacts. So guys, in urban floods, which section of the society will be most vulnerable to the impacts of urban flooding? It will be the poor and the marginalized, which will face the maximum impact. The people who have those pakka houses or good construction houses, they still can cope up. But a huge population in urban areas, they reside in slums. They reside in the outer suburbs of the urban cities. So they are purely dependent on, they are completely dependent on the cities, and then they cannot, leave that area, and hence they become vulnerable to floods every year. So whatever limited income, whatever limited savings that they have, every such income will be wasted in flooding situation, in a flood-like situation. Okay, so these are the broader impacts, guys. Let us quickly, in last 10 minutes of this session, let us very quickly analyze the mitigation. What should be the mitigation strategy to be adopted in order to tackle urban flooding? So the first thing is development of blue-green infrastructure. Now, what do you mean by blue infrastructure? Like managing, blue signifies water, so managing your water bodies, rivers, tanks, revival of old lakes. This is how you can control the flow of water in urban areas. And then obviously, to reduce the flood peaks, to develop green infrastructure like urban gardening, planting more trees, afforestation. Guys, tree is a solution to every environmental problem. So growing more trees will help you to tackle the urban menace. Okay, so proper water management, robust infrastructure like equipping your drain, reconstructing your drain to such a level so that it can balance, the increased amount of water in flowing into them. All right, so this is the first mitigation strategy. Next is flood vulnerability mapping. Like this is a very important point. Like you should know that which area is prone to what kind of water level during the flood. So there is a need to analyze the topography. There is a need to analyze the historical data of inundation. Like for example, in Delhi, if I quote Delhi as an example, there is a very prominent bridge near when you go towards New Delhi railway station. Whenever you go towards New Delhi railway station, so there is a very prominent ITO bridge. So that ITO bridge will face floods almost every year. It is a every year phenomena. Okay. So what we need is maintaining the record of all water bodies and wetlands in the city, and so that we can have a better planning. Like if you know that these areas are vulnerable, you will plan your mitigation accordingly. Then effective watershed management, like controlling the water. How you can do that? Deepening the channels, structural measures, construction of flood walls. Like all flood prone area should be demarcated, and you should develop that artificial flood walls around such vulnerable areas. Then bioswales. Now this is something important. Bioswales is a kind of a rainwater harvesting system which allows all the water falling on the roads that is flown to these bioswales, and these bioswales will absorb the water and it will allow the water to percolate down in the ground. So it will tackle all the problems, like it will help you to recharge your groundwater. Okay, so this is one effective strategy you can follow for flood mitigation. Then other than that, you can free your you can remove the illegal encroachment of all the low-lying areas in the city. Working on the pollution, if you can tackle the pollution of the cities, like promoting green transport, promoting public infrastructure, less congestion on the city, all these things will in a way reduce pollution and then reduce the urban heat island effect. This is one more strategy, one more mitigation strategy for tackling floods. And then developing disaster resilient public utility. So all the hospitals, schools, like, do you think it this way? All these natural disasters, let's say natural and man-made disaster, let's say due to pollution, due to floods, due to season peaks like aggressive winter and aggressive summer. These are some examples due to which all the schools are shut down. So don't you think there is a loss of learning in the school students? Like for us, like college going students, we enjoy that, oh, college is shut now, we can enjoy with our friends. But in a way, guys, it is a loss for your knowledge. And especially for those people, for those students who cannot afford private tuitions and they are not getting their education other than from the school. Then hospitals, other areas. So we need to develop all our public utility systems so that they should be in a way, either they can tackle or they are resilient to urban flooding, or we have to relocate them to such a places so that they do not witness urban floods that that often, or that with a very high frequency. And then next mitigation strategy is sensitization, rehabilitation. We need to sensitize people, we need to rehabilitate people, we need to spread awareness, we should make them realize that how floods is disastrous to them. Okay, so these are some mitigation strategies. Then institutional arrangements, like we can work, how government can work. So the government can work in the form of developing flood control implementing agencies. Like we can increase coordination among different departments, administrative officials, doctors, police, firefighters, NGOs. All these different departments should work in a collaborative manner so that we can improve the flood mitigation, we can have a better flood mitigation. And then the last thing is your concept of sponge cities. Okay, concept of sponge cities as a mitigation strategy. So in sponge cities, basically what you will do, you will allow, or you will make your city in such a way that it will allow more percolation of water. So this more percolation of water can happen like if you develop rainwater harvesting systems. Rainwater harvesting systems. This can help. Then bioswales, like I have mentioned, bioswales. You can construct bioswales along the adjacent lines of your roads. So these bioswales will allow access of water to, first they will collect it, and then slowly that water will percolate down in the ground. Then using a construction material in such a way that it can help to absorb more and more of water. Okay, if we can help to absorb more and more water, so the groundwater, it can percolate down, this will also help you to mitigate, the concept of urban flooding. So like if you can see this diagram, developing permeable road structures, storm drainage, water recycling facilities, rainwater that can run off to the wetlands and lakes. Maybe we can develop artificial lakes. Green roof. Green roof will help you. Urban gardening, green roof will help you to cool down the urban heat island effect. So all these are basically part of that how you can mitigate your urban flooding. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this discussion. I hope this discussion was enlightening enough. So if you are willing to join SRIRAM, so you can get all the details regarding our courses. Like we are launching one batch in August. Okay, so at SRIRAM, you can come at our offline center, which is available in GTB Nagar as well as in Old Rajendra Nagar. This foundation program is guided and it is being run under our director SRIRAM sir himself, who has 35 years of experience in mentoring UPSC aspirants. Okay, he is a legend, like he's a wizard of economy and polity. So you will be getting classes from him, and other than that, there are more than close to 25 faculties for each subject. We have different faculties, so you can come, you can get that holistic coverage for your preparation, for prelims, for mains, for answer writing. Along with prelims, mains, interview, answer writing, you will get personalized mentorship, current affairs, optionals, everything. So SRIRAM will give you one-stop solution for your IS stream. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to our SRIRAM channel for the latest updates. Please hit the bell icon and do not forget to hit a like on this video and share this video with your friends if you found the information related to urban floods very useful. And definitely you will use all these points to tackle your GS3 mains. Urban floods is a very important topic for this year mains as well as for the upcoming years, because again, we are not solving this problem of urban floods in very quickly in the future. So it will remain as a problem, it will remain as an issue that you need to revise again and again. So thank you very much. See you in the next video.